Alright, so items as follows that you'll need. You have a general lubrication. Make sure it's you can't really read it, it's faded on this bottle. Non-spermicidal lubrication. You got your collection bags. I tend to use these. They're a lot safer. You don't got to worry about, you know, scraping your stud or worry about dirt getting into the collection as easy. Typical syringe, wherever you want to get them from. Gloves and pipette. Alright, once again, standard collection bag. Now what you're looking for is, on shaft is going to be these knots. He already kind of experienced, so his already going to be swelled up. Trying to get you a good look right here where that knot is. You wrap your hand behind it. Wrap your hand behind these knots. Cup around them. He's already been wiped off, so I just have a towel to wipe him off, make sure no dirt get in the collection. Bag on him. And then make sure the bag is stay firm. Fingers around the knots. And if he feels pressure, you squeeze a couple times to give pressure. It might take a few more times than another, and then very shortly, there you go. After I collect the sample, I like to tie it off. Keep air out of it. When pulling semen, go as slowly as you possibly can. That way you're not breaking tails off of any of those swimmers. And then you should have a good, cloudy sample. Alright, general lube once again. All I'll do is put a little, I say a little bit, but a good amount in my hand. Apply to pipette. Alright, so what I do when I get here, I'll start with my middle finger because it's the longest, and what I say is you go in, kind of at a backwards up angle. You're gonna have to turn to your right, and then you'll be right there. That might not be the way everybody does it, but that's the way, like I said, I found that works for me without scarring the female. And so from that point on, the pipette stays at my inside at the base of my middle finger. I'll go in and follow that same pattern that I went to get to where my mark is. So I'll turn, run the pipette until it can't go no more. Move your finger if you feel, you know, resistance, but also keep your finger on your mark. Don't move your finger too far away from your mark. Then I'll turn my hand up, and that's when I feel going downhill. A lot of times you'll feel the female kind of quiver, shake maybe. She feels it, so you'll go as far as you can, softly, gently, until you hit the wall, back up off that wall, keep the pipette in place, and that's when you start the insemination. Once again, just like when you pull it, go as slowly as possible. I always try to have a good 2 to 3 cc's of air on the back end as well. That'll push any excess semen so you don't really have any stuck in the end of the syringe or in the end of the pipette. You can make sure you get everything from the collection where it needs to go. You can pull the syringe out, leave the pipette in place, and if you still have backflow coming upwards, that you know it's not where it needs to be. So you'll pull a little bit of air, shoot some more air in, get her flagging, let her pull in some. When I pull that syringe off and I check that airflow, that's letting me know if it's getting where I wanted to. Still see a little bit of comeback, if you can see that through the camera. Alright, so I still see a little comeback, so I'm gonna get a little bit more air. Cap it off if you need to stop that from coming all the way out. While you pull in the air, place the syringe, and just repeat that process until you know, if you don't feel comfortable that you hit your mark, that you got the semen where you want it to be. For one, if you didn't get it over the heel, the semen would just fall right back out. You wouldn't even be able to shoot 2 or 3 cc's in without it falling back out. Once you get over the heel and it's going straight down, I pull the syringe off to check the airflow to make sure she's actually pulling it all in and not just gonna, you know, let the gravity pull it back out whenever I'm done with the process. Alright, so today I really wanted to just recap that breeding from yesterday. I appreciate everybody that, you know, is willing to accept information from somebody like me. I'm, you know, fairly new in this game, starting off. Everything I learned was from either friends or me just watching videos. Videos like this, they helped me be more comfortable and gave me guidance through doing the job that I needed to do. So just a quick run back. Start with the collection. Make sure your stud has a teaser female in front of him. If he needs one, it's usually better anyway. Helps him get his flirting. He knows what he has going on at the moment. Make sure you cut behind the knots. Index finger, thumb, behind the knots. The rest of the hand cups the knots. Gentle squeeze with index finger and thumb around the base of the knots. No tugging, no pulling, just squeezing gently but firmly. Keep the bag pulled in place. All the thrusting, shifting can move the bag to fall off and you will risk losing collection. After you have a good collection, tie the bag off. Air could potentially kill or shock your sample. Also, keep your sample out of light for extended periods of time. Light can definitely kill or shock your sample. When extracting semen from the bag into the syringe, pull as slowly as possible so you're not breaking off any tails from those swimmers and keeping the sample as healthy as possible. After you have the sample in the syringe, is when I apply my gloves, lubrication to the pipette, and then I leave excess on my hands. When I approach the bitch, I rub her with the lubrication. And I start with my middle finger because my middle finger is the longest. I know I can reach my mark with my middle finger without having to constantly go in and try what works out and what doesn't. The path I take to get to my mark is not maybe the same for everybody else, but I do realize that on every bitch I've done an AI on, it works. So as I said, I'll try to show. I'll go in, up, I'll turn my hand, my wrist, leaving my fingers straight, turning my wrist to manipulate and get to where I need to be, which ends up my wrist being straight up, my middle finger being underneath the mark, and then I'll run the pipette along the inside of my finger, not moving my finger, maybe manipulating my wrist to give that pipette and my finger access to get where it needs to be. And then once I feel my finger where it needs to be, the pipette will be against the tip of my finger. I'll slide my finger back, giving the pipette access. I'll move my hand up, turn down, and push in slowly, gently until I reach my mark. And then I'll back up to give the semen room to work its way in. Another step that I didn't do in the video that some people like to do is what they call elevation. Simple. You'll have somebody stand at the front of the bitch to give her support on her chest. That way she's not holding all of her weight on her front. You'll pull the bitch's back end up to allow gravity to simply help work the semen on its way down. Once again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. You know, somebody like me just getting started off, it's definitely a great feeling. You have people that are above me in the dog game. You have people that are striving to be where I am in the dog game, and the love, it really just feels great. So I hope everybody is able to get something from this video. Please give me feedback on where you think I should do something different, where you think I could try a different technique, or whatever. We're all here to learn and grow, so let's keep it bully.